going to take control of the political process and take charge. Elijah was sitting on the backside of the desert. He had prayed that it wouldn't rain, and it didn't rain. He wasn't in need at all. He'd been fed by the ravens. One day God said to him, Elijah, I want you to go to Jericho.
I have commanded,
a widow woman there to sustain you. Widow represents the church, a woman without a head. She is crying out to God for sustenance. She's crying out to God for food, to sustain her in this time of famine. She has just a little bit of meal left and a little bit of oil. And she calls out to God. God says, no, I don't want you to touch that. I'm sending a prophet, and he's going to tell you what to do. But when he comes, you want to have enough here to sustain him. Well, Elijah didn't go right away, and finally God dried up his brook. And he was then compelled to obey God. He got to the woman just as she was getting ready to disobey what God had told her to do. She was going to take the last bit of meal and oil, and she was going to make a cake, eat it, and then die. And then the prophet showed up. And he said, you make me a cake first. And she did. He asked for a drink of water. She said, oh, that's a scarcity, sir. You don't know there's a tremendous famine in the land, and you want me to make you a cake? And he said, woman, you do what I tell you to do, and thus saith the Lord, your meal barrel will never go empty, and your cruse of oil will never run dry until the day that God sends rain on the face of the earth. Now, friends, we're in a famine today. The Bible said we would be a famine not for the drinking of water or eating of bread. We have plenty of food, but for the hearing of the Word of God for us at this time. We are actually surviving on the Word that we have stored up in our hearts and our minds, crying out for a fresh move of God. It's going to come. Remember, Elijah prayed, and it rained not. But then he prayed again later on, and it rained. And the rain is going to come. The time of refreshing is going to come from God. Has God spoken to you to sustain me, this prophet of God, with your offering? This broadcast must stay on the air. It's God's will, and he will see to it. However, I'm confident that there are many of you that he speaks to send your offering. Today, someone said 1,000. Someone else said 2. It always happens me to see that. Some said 5, 10, 20, 100. As God commands them to sustain the prophet with all diligence. I use those funds to pay for the many hundreds of thousands of dollars radio time to keep the Word of God coming from my spirit, from God, to you in this time of famine. When you pray about what God would have you to do to sustain the prophet, I believe that God has commanded many of you to uphold my hand. With your prayers, with your receiving the prophet, and with your financial support. Pray about it, won't you? And then obey God today. And send your letter, enclose your offering unto the Lord as he directs you, and give it in faith. It will be used for the glory of God. My mailing address, you just address your letter to me, Brother Stayer, Church, South Carolina, 29488, USA. Be sure to tell me the station or frequency that you listen to so we can apply your offering for that station. Subject. And Satan took Jesus up into a high mountain, and he showed him all the kingdoms of the world. And he said to him, you bow down, and you worship me, and I will give you all the kingdoms of the world. This angel of the bottomless pit is none other than Lucifer, a fallen angel, demon affected from hell. Today, he's raging with fury upon the face of the earth. According to Revelation 12 and verse 12, lo, he ought to be inhabitant of the earth. For Satan has come down on Israel, having great wrath. Come down to the earth. Where has he been? The Bible says that he is the prince of the power of the air. His throne is in the first heaven. He controls the heavens and the earth. He has been given to him by man. When man sinned, God used man to know dominion of the earth. It's men, by worshiping, acknowledging, and serving Lucifer, the dominion of the things in this world under his control. So you're watching Satan set up his kingdom, the kingdom of darkness, the kingdom of sin, the kingdom of evil and wickedness. It's covering the whole world, and that's the truth. In the book of Daniel, there's a unique scenario about the day which we live. In Daniel chapter 7, Daniel says that he had a vision or a dream from his bed. He wrote the dream and told the sum of the matter, or set forth the whole matter. He says, I saw in my vision by night, behold, the four winds of heaven, and behold, the four winds of the heaven shone upon the great sea. Now, the word sea in Revelation always applies to the great multitude of people. A sea of people, many of them. And he said, and the four beasts came up from the sea. These beasts, the word beast means government. The four beasts spoken about in the book of Revelation and the book of Daniel have to do with four beast governments or governments that will beastly taking control of the known world of their day. In the last days, we are spoken of a fourth beast which is diverse than all the others. Here in this particular chapter, Daniel 7 and 3, it says, and four great beasts, four great governments came up from the sea, from out of the people. They claim that they are the people's government. You know, like China and the Soviet Union and the United States, and now the New World Order. The fourth beast, the United Kingdom, Canada. These are all governments now, you know, that represent the people. Yes, sir. That's right. The people's government. Now, the verse was like a lion. Now, what I want to tell you is that this description that I'm going to read to you started to come into being at the birth of the United Kingdom. Again, I want to reiterate to you that the symbol of the United Kingdom, the British Empire, was and is the lion. the age that began somewhere in the middle 1700s that literally began to send its tentacles, its long-range arms, into all parts of the world. Remember when they said the British government, the sun never set on the British Empire? Do you remember that? I remember that so vividly. They reached into every part of the world. You see, right? They even were involved in the setting up of the land and the nation of Israel. So here in the end time it says, as we come to the end of the age, we see these four beasts, these four world governments, and governments that will affect the entire world come into being. And they come up out of masses of people, declaring they are governments of the people, for the people, the people party, the people. You've heard it many, many times. The first one was like a lion. That's your British Empire. And had eagles' wings. What came out of the British Empire but the United States of America? What's the symbol of the U.S.? By the eagle. So now we have these two governments that come up here at the end time. I don't you people know that the United States is just a little over 200 years old. Lord have mercy, going back again to that 1776. And then just before that, the great growing of the British Empire. That might go back to the time of that many times, somewhere around the Reformation, when God began the spiritual Reformation under Martin Luther. He began the natural government raising up of the British government, the lion, and then her eagle. Her eagle's wing, which became the United States of America. I'm reading from chapter 7, verse 4 of the book of Daniel. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and they stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. Now, the wings of the eagle were plucked, and it turned into a man. Listen to what the United States has done. After becoming a very powerful nation that broke off from the UK, and it mounted up and became a great, great nation, exalted higher than even the UK or the British government, its wings were plucked. And it became like a man. Everyone knows the United States has claimed this humanitarian attitude, this human approach to mankind, considering ourselves in this country the most civilized people that's ever lived on the face of the earth. We became known for our humanity, and man prospered under the U.S. Now, in the midst of all this, he says in verse 5, and behold, another beast. Remember now, the first beast out of this, the British Empire, came the second nation, the United States. Now we find a second beast, a second government that starts to influence the rest of the world, the whole of the world. Look into it. Like to a bear. Well, the Russian bear. It became very strong, and its combined power was to take charge of masses of countries and people, and it raised itself up on one side. Now what did it do? It raised itself up on the side of anti-God. It became a nation of a political process that we come to know as communism. And they were strong in their anti-God, non-God social philosophy. They became very strong, the Russian Soviet pair. He said thus unto it, arise and devour much flesh. What did it do? As the Soviet Union of power and communism became sweeping throughout the world, they killed and butchered and destroyed millions. I forget, 30 to 35 million in the Soviet Union alone, and an equal amount in China. God only knows how many millions were butchered under the century of communism worldwide, and even to this day, as the child of socialistic ideology goes forward. Now, it was strong on one side, and it ate up humanity left and right. Verse number 6, and this is where we are right now. After this I beheld, and lo, another beast, another government, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. Notice this now. This government includes the eagle government and the British government and even the bear, all combined, and yet a different application. The beast has also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. 4 heads. The strength of the world government is politics, a social structure, an economic structure, and last but not least, the backing of religion worldwide. It has 4 heads. Verse number 7. After this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a 4th beast. That's the one that's coming into being now, my friend. If you would go back to the book of Revelation, you would find in the 13th chapter of the book of Revelation, where he said, I saw a beast rise up out of the sea. Isn't that something? It's like the book of Daniel. I saw him strove upon the great sea, and the 4 great beasts came up from the sea. Now, that John saw in chapter 13 of the book of Revelation, he said, I saw a beast rise up out of the sea. Now that seriously there, 2 years ago, when this was forced, this was as president of the United States. And when you go to John, the ex-butcher of the KGB, who was as big a terrorist as the world has ever seen, they both, heads of their beast government, the bear and the eagle, they ended up going to visit the Pope of Rome, who was going to bring together all the religions of the world, because the 7 women will take hold of one man. 7 world religions are going to come under the dominant leadership of the Pope of Rome, and they're going to say to the Pope, to that religious system, take away our illegitimacy. And we will maintain our own houses of worship. We will pay our own bills. All we ask you to do, Mr. Pope, is to give us legitimacy and tell us we have a right to worship and serve the God and the manner in which we do it, and we will pay homage to you as a great religious leader. And of course, every one of you knows that that's exactly what the Pope and the Catholic Church is doing now, as they are embracing every religion. All 7 of them throughout the world are coming under the auspices of authority by the Vatican. Now, John said, remember John was on the Isle of Patmos. He was looking west towards the rock of Gibraltar, towards the western part of the Mediterranean Germany having 7 heads. Is that something? What they call the 7 economic powers. The meaning of the 7, we just see it so many times. The 7 nations who have control of the economics of the world. And 10 horns. Of course, they have a few others to them. And upon his horns 10 crowns. And upon his crowns a name of black city. And the beast is now. And this I beheld, and lo, I read from Daniel chapter 7, verse 6. Afterwards I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. A charge was given to it. John said in Revelation 13:2, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, his feet, listen to this, as the feet of the bear, his mouth as the mouth of a lion. Notice all 3 of the previous governments are involved in this one. In this one. The lion, the UK, the feet of a bear, ladies and gentlemen, the Russians, and the mouth of the lion, which was the United States, which speaks profoundly for all the English-speaking British-type people throughout the world. And it says they got their power from the dragon, from Satan, the secret brotherhood, and what have you. They got their power from the dragon and gave him his power and his feet and his great authority. I saw one of these heads as it were wounded to death. Now that one head that was wounded is the head of the nation of Germany. You people can remember that in both of our 2 previous world wars, they were both started by Germany. Both of them. As we came to the ending of the Second World War, when it seemed like the Allies was comprised of Russia, England, US, and France. They comprised of 4 allied nations, and they were marching on to Germany now, up to Normandy, on through heading for Berlin. And the final demise of the German forces was in its making. Mr. General Eisenhower was in charge of the Allied command. Mr. Stalin, believe it or not, atheistic, communistic, the Germans had beat them bad. I mean, the Germans had beat them bad. And yet, Mr. Stalin was still moving now back down towards Germany because as Hitler was fighting the Russians on the Russian front, the attack from the Allies came from the back. He had to pull back from the Russian front to defend his western front, and when he did, the Russians started to come back into the war. Instead of marching into Berlin and just wiping out Hitler, General Eisenhower held up on the day of conquest until Stalin could move up and all 4 of the Allied powers could march into Berlin together, making them a conquering group. So therefore, when we finally defeated Germany, as they tell us, and Berlin fell, there were 4 powers, 4 nations who were involved. And so when they split up the occupational forces of Germany, they split it up into 4 sectors. The French sector, the British sector, the United States sector, the Canadian, the Soviet sector. And you know what happened, don't you? It wasn't long to Stalin split from the Western Allies, built the the Berlin Wall and took and wounded this powerful head, Germany. It's unique now, isn't it? That under Mr. Gorbachev, when he and Mr. Bush went to see the Pope of Rome, Mr. Gorbachev goes back about a coup that brought down the Soviet Union, and out of it came the Russian stairs. Mr. Bush comes back and gets us into a fiasco that he called a move towards the New World. I was reading an article the other day about that particular thing. What did it say here, Mr. Bush said? December 31st, 1990, he said, is the New World Order. What the state here is whether we can have disputes easily resolved in the future by a reinvigorated United Nations. In January, he spoke, the Gulf crisis has to do with a New World Order. Wow. In August of 1991, he says, a New World Order is not a fact. It is an aspiration and an opportunity. I hope history will record that the Gulf crisis was the crucibility of the New World Order. Mr. Bush, ladies and gentlemen, began to push the plans that have been in place for a long time to bring about a New World Order. Just the other night, and by the way, this is Wednesday, October the 10th, Mr. Tony Blair said, we are going to order a new world. Wow, we're going to break checkers and checks and move around nations and governments and people until we come up with a world order that is going to bring about peace, and we're going to have a one world government for the New World Order. So, what happened after Mr. Gorbachev brought down the Soviet Union and the Russian bear came back into play? The thing we know that Germany was reunited. The head was healed. Now you understand right now as I'm talking to you that just the other day the United States, which was a part of NATO, and we know they've rearranged NATO now, has now asked for NATO to send planes over to the United States to help guard our security. Planes that we actually paid to them, AWAC. And of course, everyone knows that the thrust and the power behind the NATO forces is Germany. Germany. Soldiers all along. Germany's going to rise again and play a major part in the final Third World War and the entire world government that's going to be set up and ruled from the international bankers, from your invisible brotherhood, from the powers that be on the face of the earth. The sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar which is before God, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loosed. You are listening to the Overcomer Ministry in Walterboro, South Carolina, where the coming of Jesus Christ is preached 24 hours a day throughout the entire world. Our prayer request line is 843-701-5053. That's 843-701-5053. And our mailing address for your correspondence and offering is Post Office Box 691, Walterboro, South Carolina, 29488. That is Post Office Box 691, Walterboro, South Carolina, 29488. To learn more, you can also visit our website at www.overcomerministry.org. Prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, but to slay the third part of men. The number of the army of the horsemen was 200,000, and I heard the number of them. Because I saw the horses in the vision, and then the saddles having breastplates of fire, and a chased and
by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouths, and in their tails. And their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands, and they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver, and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see, nor hear, nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. Ladies and gentlemen, this Jesus had a word of non-power. You hear that? This is the word of the Lord.
Post Office Box 691, Walterboro, South Carolina, 29488. That is Post Office Box 691, Walterboro, South Carolina, 29488. To learn more, you can also visit our website at www.overcomerministry.org.
He's called the man of sin. He's called the son of perdition. He's called the beast out of the pit. In Revelation 13, 15 to 18 says he has a number, a name, a sign, and a mark. He is easy to be identified. Now let's just take for a minute one of the marks. Let's look for his mark. What do they say? What did they say years ago in the common language of the English? What marks the spot? Come on, folks. What marks the spot? X. Xmas. What is the mysterious X on the white horse, or the man who was on the white horse? First of all, he's a bowman. He has a bow. I wish I had me a bow. Pull back the bow. What do you got? You got an X. It's remarkable. There are only 2 hunters found in the scriptures that are named. The rest of them that are called, they are not named. There are only 2 hunters in the scriptures who had a name. They both used bows. The name was Nimrod and Esau. So now we find the writer on Revelation 6 with a bow in his hand.
You are listening to the Overcomer Ministry in Walterboro, South Carolina, where the coming of Jesus Christ is preached 24 hours a day throughout the entire world. Our prayer request line is 843-701-5053. That's 843-701-5053. And our mailing address for your correspondence and offering is Post Office Box 691, Walterboro, South Carolina, 29488. That is Post Office Box 691, Walterboro, South Carolina, 29488. To learn more, you can also visit our website at www.overcomerministry.org.
And we find him way back in the beginning, and he starts slaying the blood of the righteous. Hasn't changed one bit. And he has the sign of the X. The Catholic cross in most places is not the kind of cross you see. It's basically an X. The sign of a cross is an X. And someone crosses themselves. So X marks the spot. Now a bowman uses 2 fingers. Very rarely will he use 3. He'll use 2 when he pulls back to make the X. How do they cross themselves? 2 fingers. X marks the spot. First we find the city, now we find the man. Remarkable, isn't it? In 1916, the infantry began to use the sign of two fingers for a bayonet assault. It became the sign of the Boy Scouts. Sign of victory. It's the Bowman sign. Two fingers. What's the Pope of Rome going around holding up his two fingers? It's the false sign of peace. It is not a good sign. In fact, when the Italians get mad at you, they go, "Ugh!" Which is a very degrading sign. It's almost like going, "Ugh!" In old Italy, when the Italians get mad, they go, "Ha, ha, ha, ha." They put two fingers behind their teeth. And yet, they still use the two-finger split as the V for victory. The coincidence is that the Roman Catholic Pontiff has ordained this two-fingered gesture as the identifying mark of his church's blessing. Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me? Oh, by the way, the Catholics do cross themselves, do they not? The word for cross in Latin is crucifix. Ends with an X. Did you ever study the word that ends with an X? That fellow stuck that thing in there all night long, and I kept saying, "What's he trying to say here?" I'll show you in a minute. He finally helped me out. Try as he may, no Catholic can explain the symbol of two fingers. Ask the Catholic why he uses two fingers. You don't know. It's just that it was handed down.
Depart ye, touch no unclean thing. Go ye out of the midst of her and be ye clean. Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion. Put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem. Hearken unto me, ye of righteousness, the people in whose sight is my law. Fear ye not the reproach of men, or be ye afraid of them. Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion. Put on the beautiful garments, O Jerusalem. For the Lord my God will help me. I will not be confused. I have set my face like flint. I will not be ashamed. Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion. Put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem. Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion. Put on thy beautiful garments, O Every heart here waits and watches. Lord, draw near now, Lord, we need you. Maranatha, oh Lord Jesus, come. Oh Lord, come. Oh Lord, come. We await your presence. Oh Lord, come. Where your people join together, Lord, your Spirit fills that place. You are here now, Lord, forever. Now in spirit, but one day face to face. Oh Lord, come. Oh Lord, come. We await your presence. Oh Lord, come. Now we watch, Lord, for your appearing. When the veil is torn away, as we see our freedom nearing, in His presence stronger every day. Oh Lord, come. Oh Lord, come. We await your presence. Oh Lord, come. Come and meet us. We long to see you. Maranatha, oh Lord Jesus, come. Oh Lord, come. Oh Lord, come. We await your presence. Oh Lord, come. Come and meet us. We long to see you. Maranatha, oh Lord Jesus, come. Maranatha, oh Lord Jesus, come.
Chapter 30. The words of Agur the son of Jakeh, even the prophecy. The man spake unto Ithiel, even unto Ithiel and Ugal. Surely I am more brutish than any man, and have not the understanding of a man. I neither learned wisdom, nor have the knowledge of the holy. Who hath ascended up into heaven, or descended? Who hath gathered the wind in his fist? Hath bound the waters in a garment? Who hath established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? And what is his son's name? If thou canst tell. Every word of God is pure. He is a shield unto them that put their trust in him. Add thou not unto his word, lest he reprove thee, and thou be found a liar. 2 things have I required of thee. Deny me them not before I die. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me, lest I be full and deny thee and say, Who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my God in vain. Accuse not a servant unto his master, lest he curse thee, and thou be found guilty. There is a generation that curseth their father, and doth not bless their mother. There is a generation that are pure in their own eyes, and yet is not washed from their filthiness. There is a generation, oh how lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. There is a generation whose teeth are as swords, and their jaw teeth as knives, to devour the poor from off the earth, and the needy from among men. The horse leech hath 2 daughters, crying, Give, give. There are 3 things that are never satisfied, yea, 4 things say not, It is enough. The grave, and the barren womb, the earth that is not filled with water, and the fire that saith not, It is enough. The eye that mocketh at his father, and despiseth to obey his mother, the ravens of the valley shall pick it up, and the young eagle shall eat it. There be 3 things which are too wonderful for me, yea, 4 which I know not. The way of an eagle in the air, the way of a serpent upon a rock, the way of a ship in the midst of the sea, and the way of a man with a maid. Such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth her mouth and saith, I have done no wickedness. For 3 things the earth is disquieted, and for 4 which it cannot bear. For a servant when he reigneth, and a fool when he is filled with meat. For an odious woman when she is married, and an handmaid that is heir to her mistress. There be 4 things which are little upon the earth, but they are exceeding wise. The ants are the people not strong, yet they prepare their meat in the summer. The conies are but a feeble folk, yet make they their houses in the rocks. The locusts have no king, yet go they forth all of them by bands. The spider taketh hold with her hand, and is in kings' palaces. There be 3 things which go well, yea, 4 are comely in going. A lion, which is strongest among beasts, and turneth not away for any. A greyhound, an he-goat also, and a king, against whom there is no rising up. If thou hast done foolishly in lifting up thyself, or if thou hast thought evil, lay thine hand upon thy mouth. Surely the churning of milk bringeth forth butter, and the wringing of the nose bringeth forth blood. So the forcing of wrath bringeth forth strife.
And the wicked one touches his mouth. He got tested. He stole me for this. Ain't got no profit money in my hand. Not at all. But the scriptures are trying to show us down for years. Tidbits that we overlook because we're always trying to establish doctrine or patterns. As my brothers and sisters, the pattern is complete. The pattern of the Old Testament, the example is to come. The reality is now. Did I say that clear enough? Jesus is the pattern. Second is that 3 more things, and this is the reason why we call it 10 to the feet. I don't connect to the 10,000 to the feet. But I just don't really care. I'm concerned about the time thing, not how you live them. You always have to come with the Sabbath. Only because you don't know how to live the Sabbath day, it is just the time of the Sabbath day. And we confuse the Sabbath. One is it this way, one is it that way, one is it that way. And which one keep it as that? We keep the time. It is a day of rest. Come on, how do you rest? Jesus rests always. I'm resting right now. I rest well when I'm preaching. I don't rest when I'm in the best prison. I rest when I'm preaching. I know folks who rest better while they're resting. You say you're crazy. No, I'm not. He said, I make the words of him that sent me. And as he is what? He was I was resting. He was resting in his obedience. He was resting in his faith. He was resting in his come on, hallelujah. Hallelujah, God. And we're getting ready to go into the greatest Sabbath day man's ever seen. And we're going to work. We're going to work. Yes, sir. We're going to work. We're going to work. There'll be no sweat, though. Hallelujah. And I'm not losing my sweater like that. There'll be no sweat. I want a new body, folks. I know about you. And the one I'm going to have that state. It won't sweat. Ain't going to have no be old. We're not young.
Psalm 125. They that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed, but abideth forever. As the mountains are round about Jerusalem, so the Lord is round about his people from henceforth even forever. For the hand of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth their hands unto iniquity. Do good, O Lord, unto those that be good, and to them that are upright in their hearts. As their senses turn aside unto their crooked ways, the Lord shall lead them forth with the workers of iniquity. But peace shall be
that you taught
Like a woman at the well, I was seeking for things that could not satisfy. And then I heard my Savior speaking, draw from my well that never shall run dry. Fill my cup, Lord, I lift it up, Lord. Come and quench this thirsting of my soul. Bread of heaven, feed me till I want more. Fill my cup, fill it up, and make me whole. So my brother, if the things this world gave you leave a hungers that won't pass away, my blessed Lord will come and save you if you kneel to him and humbly pray. Fill my cup, Lord, I lift it up, Lord. Come and quench this thirsting of my soul. Bread of heaven, feed me till I want no more. Fill my cup, fill it up, and make me whole.
Listen also, in the latter days, perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves. And they will love themselves so much that they have a love for money
which to the world is power. And the love for money is the root of all evil.